All right, guys, what's going on? My name is Chris, and I'm going to do my very first motovlog on this motorcycle right here. This is my 2007 Harley-Davidson Dyna Street Bob. Pretty awesome machine. And I thought for the first vlog, I thought I'd show you around the neighborhood. Show you what it's like up here in the mountains of Colorado. And hopefully my audio is dialed in pretty good here. I've been working really hard trying to get the audio on this crazy helmet setup on this vlog. As a matter of fact, I did a vlog before and the audio was completely trash. I just had to delete it. So to give you a little bit of background, I've been driving motorcycles for about 2 months. Not too long. And I've been practicing on my driveway. Well, I kind of take that back. As a matter of fact, I've been pretty much riding motorcycles my whole life, and it's been about 20 years since I had a bike, so I definitely had a lot of brushing up to do. And look at this driveway. This is what I've been learning on, going uphill and all these ruts and everything, which is kind of crazy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop right here just for a second, put it in neutral. And I want to kind of see where this, I think I can angle my camera up a little bit. Whoops. That was weird. That was weird. I don't know what happened. It sounded like it backfired through the carb. That's the strangest thing. What a way to start a vlog. All right, so I gotta come up my crazy driveway and then go down these ridiculous dirt roads, which is another kind of a crazy thing. We'll see if this audio actually comes out on this thing. Hopefully I can actually use this, which would be pretty awesome. It's a really beautiful day out. As a matter of fact, it's pretty much the hottest it ever gets up here in the mountains. It's about 80 degrees. It never gets hotter than about 80 degrees up here in the mountains of Colorado. And this road can be really bad. Sometimes you get those kind of the washed out lines from the rain and the potholes and everything. But it looks like they just recently graded it, so it's not too bad. But let me tell you, when it comes to suspension on a motorcycle, it's definitely different than the suspension on a car. It's a lot worse. And it's really super bumpy on a motorcycle compared to a car. Especially, it seems like the street bob's really bumpy, especially like right here on these washed out areas of the street. Makes my whole head rattle, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, the aspens are just leafing out. It's the beginning of spring. It's about 80 degrees, which is pretty unusual. Usually the daytime highs up here are about 75 degrees. It's just perfect for riding. But the problem with living in the mountains of Colorado is your summers are really short. You usually have maybe, if you're lucky, maybe about 5 months of riding, and then you'll get snow again. So I think my vlogging is definitely going to be a seasonal thing. Let me see if I can actually. The other thing that's hard about this is look at all this gravel on the pavement, plus the potholes. There's a big pothole. Some of these potholes are so big they can just suck you up on a motorcycle. And then all the gravel. Yeah, this, let me tell you, after not riding for 20 years and then trying to drive up here in the mountains, it's not really the most ideal place to learn again how to ride a motorcycle. But as a matter of fact, if you actually just looked at my last video, I took a 3-day training course. It was the Harley-Davidson Riding Academy, where we drove, it was the Street 500, the Harley-Davidson Street 500. And we drove those things until my butt hurt, and then we drove them some more. I think we put like 9 hours of driving in 3 days, doing like really tight turns. And I don't know how that engine will sound on this recording, but let me tell you, that's one of the things I really love about this Dyna is I actually have short shots for the exhaust system on here, and it sounds fantastic. Probably one of the best sounding Harley Davidsons that I've seen. So yeah, look at all the sand and the gravel on the roads. It's kind of crazy driving right up here. Plus the potholes. I'm gonna hit one right here. Big old pothole. I should have saw that coming. So my mailbox is right over here in this line of mailboxes. I gotta drive all the way over here. Boy, did you see that big old pothole? That thing would have sucked you up. That thing is crazy. So I live up here in the mountains, about 9,000 feet elevation, so it's usually pretty cool up here. I'd say most of the year water is a solid. It's either snow or ice. Usually we don't have much water, we don't have much rain up here, which is kind of crazy. And the other weird thing is when you come down this hill, this is like the most treacherous hill right on the bottom of the hill, because on the bottom of this hill, it's like for some reason right at the bottom, right where it ends by the T-crossing over here, it always is really super icy, and this is where all the accidents happen in the winter. So like right here, you'll like skid right into the oncoming traffic coming this way, and there's usually quite a bit of traffic. And it looks like it's a little bit kind of hazy today. Usually it's a lot clearer as far as, I don't know why it's kind of hazy like that. Maybe there's like a fire or something somewhere in the distance that's kind of bringing over haze. But look at how beautiful it is here in Colorado. Beautiful. It's still snow. If you actually lived up there, you'd still have snow, which is kind of crazy. So actually the speed limit right here is 40. Everyone kind of blows it out of the water, so 40 is kind of the speed limit right here. And the funny thing about this valley right here is there's actually some guy that runs some cows down here. Look at how green it is. It actually gets all the water from a stream that runs through it, and for some reason you come down here and it's like 10 degrees cooler. So I started out at my house at probably 80 degrees, and right now I'd say it's probably, well, maybe about 75. It's like the perfect temperature right here. So it's pretty awesome right here. And for some reason there's a lot of wind. This will like blow you off your bike. Just, I don't know, it's like a wind funnel right down here through this little thing. Speaking of wind, I actually bought this windshield. Take a look at this windshield. It's pretty awesome. So it's kind of weird. When I first started riding, for some reason I was kind of terrified of the wind, especially right in here. It just kind of really whip and blow. Let me tell you, I'm definitely getting used to the wind a lot more, but you can definitely tell it's probably blowing, I don't know, you know, you're going 40, it feels like you're going like 50 or 55 with that wind. Sometimes when that wind's going like, you know, really super fast, sometimes it's like really intense. It feels like you're going 90 sometimes, and especially without a windshield, and if you're just starting out, you're not used to the wind blowing you all over the road, sometimes it can be a little terrifying. So I actually put this quick detach windshield on it. Well, the funny thing is I actually bought this windshield 2 inches taller, brand new online, and it was just a little bit too tall. It was, for some reason, like the top of the windshield would go right in the middle of my vision, so I was looking right at the edge of the windshield, which is, let me tell you, that's pretty distracting. So I actually ordered this one on I got this one on eBay for 50 bucks, a 2-inch shorter windshield. It's like in perfect condition. And let me tell you, that 2 inches makes a huge difference. Bringing that windshield down 2 inches really makes all the difference in the world, as far as I can perfectly see over the windshield, and it's blocking all the wind from my helmet and my face and everything, and my chest, which I don't know, sometimes it's good to have more wind. As a matter of fact, when I'm driving like 40, you know, even when I'm driving like 50 or something like that, I'd say I'd probably prefer not to have a windshield. But when you get in speeds above, you know, especially if you're going like 50 and then you got a headwind of like 20 or 30 miles an hour, Let me tell you, you definitely want a windshield, especially if you're starting out, to get used to it. And kind of the hard thing is, when I first started, I jumped on my bike and I hit the highway. I was going about 70 without a windshield, and then there was crosswinds of probably 40 or 50 miles an hour that were gusting. And let me tell you, that is definitely terrifying. With especially if you're not used to it, I'm being blown all over on the highway. As a matter of fact, I actually looked up online and about wind on motorcycles, and they said, you know, you definitely shouldn't drive if the wind is above 40 miles an hour. You should just park it and wait till the wind slows down, which is kind of crazy. So this is really beautiful up here. So normally what I do, I've actually been coming out every single day for a drive, just trying to get used to my motorcycle and get used to all the kind of the slower speeds here. You know, the speed limit's 35. You can definitely see it. This is actually my phone right here. I have this app, which is pretty cool. You can see my maximum speed. You can see how long I've been going, the distance. You can see the speed. And it's so much easier than trying to look at the dial and figure out how fast you're going. Especially if you see a cop, you can just kind of glance down and adjust your speed really quick, which is really nice. But yeah, it's kind of funny. I actually took a 9-hour trip all the way down south. I drove down to Pueblo, Colorado, did a bike ride with like 200 bikers down there, came all the way back here, and what I realized is that this road is the worst road that I drove on the whole time I was driving on that drive. This road is just terrible. It has a lot of bumps and potholes, and it just kind of shakes you all over. And kind of the funny thing about this road is if you like get right in the middle of the lanes, not necessarily right here, but it seems like that's like the worst part of the road is right in the middle. So usually I kind of go over to the right or over to the left to kind of avoid the middle, kind of depending on the traffic and where the curve is coming up in the road. So believe it or not, we still haven't got to the local store yet, the closest stores. And when I first moved up here I've been up here almost 20 years, I think it's been, which is kind of crazy. When I first moved up here, there's just one little gas station over here, just around this corner here. And it seems like just in the last few years, there's been a whole bunch of stuff really popping up all over the place. And they're actually putting in some storage units over here, which is kind of wild. You would think people would need storage units up here because almost everybody has a lot of land, so I don't know how well that's going to go through. And then the Dollar General, they just put that in maybe 2 years ago, and then the liquor store went up just a couple years ago, and this little coffee shop about a year ago. And then you have all these little kind of I don't know what you call them, little like food vans, I guess, which was kind of surprising. They have been kind of popping up all over the place, which is pretty wild. So this is, you know, when I first started driving this is pretty much where I'd end right here at Loaf and Jug, which is the gas station kind of convenience store over here. And now I've gotten to the point where I could definitely go on the highway. So I want to actually try to go around this guy. I don't know what he's doing there. Got another biker there. Looks like a road king. Alright, so I want to take you into the big town of Bailey, Colorado, and you can see what downtown looks like. So this is kind of my new practice route. But I've gotten kind of more used to the slow speeds and the slow streets over there. I've been doing a little bit of highway, just kind of dabbling in the highway every day to get used to it a little bit. And I can kind of show you what this looks like. Gotta love the roar of that engine. Now we're getting into faster speeds. You can definitely feel the wind. The funny thing is when you go when you go through this right here, this is like another wind funnel that'll definitely whip you. So this is not just, you know, high speeds, you know, speed limit's 40 now, usually it's 50, but for some reason this is like a big wind funnel right here on top. This is what they call Crow Hill up here. Now let me tell you, on the top of Crow Hill, it is a major wind funnel that always, it seems like you're going like 90 miles an hour through here, which is kind of crazy. So the reason they actually did this, I'm pretty sure the construction was because a whole bunch of rocks and sand fell, and they actually had a bunch of stuff in the road the other day. You have to watch for fallen rocks coming through there, which is pretty crazy. I don't know what they're doing there now, but you definitely feel the wind whipping. It just like funnels it right in. So this is kind of a good a good practice to not just go high speed, but to be in a really high wind too, which is kind of throws you around a little bit. Let me tell you, I'm definitely more used to it than I used to be. You know, when I first started riding about 2 months ago, I had a death grip on the handlebars, and so much so that my hands would fall asleep, which is kind of crazy. Work speed limit of 50. It's kind of interesting. So probably one of the biggest things you have to really watch around here is the deer and the elk that jump in front of your motorcycle when you're driving around. So that's usually the biggest things. Got a couple bikers there. When I first started riding, I couldn't get my hand off the handlebar to wave. I was too scared. Now I can go fast into a headwind and wave at the same time, which is pretty good. But boy, that headwind, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, it's like pushing me left and right. It's like a whirlwind. It's like being behind a jet engine, kind of whipping up through here, through the little cut in the mountain. But it's kind of nice because, you know, if I actually go like on I-25, the speed limit there is like 75, and people go 80. Let me tell you, I don't think I'm ready to do long-term speeds at 80 miles an hour, especially in high winds. It seems like there's a lot of high winds. So, you know, I can actually do it now, but to me it's just not fun. It's just not a fun motorcycle ride when you're driving in that really strong wind that's kind of whipping around like that. All right, so around this corner right here, this is Bailey, Colorado, and I'm going to show you downtown Bailey. So we have, what do we have? We have a propane company, we have a restaurant and tavern, we have a Chinese restaurant, we have the Cutthroat Cafe, and let's see what else we have. We have the Sasquatch Outpost. That's kind of like a ma and pa shop for like a convenience store or something like that. So this is like pretty much it. There's like nothing here. We have another gas station. We have an art gallery. We have marijuana. If you want some marijuana here in Colorado, it's legal. I've never actually bought any. We have more lumber across the street. We have arts and gifts. We have the post office right there. And that's it. Not a lot in Bailey, Colorado. Even if you make the drive all the way out here. They do have a little ice cream shop right there. They have a winery. They have a dentist. I haven't been to that dentist. I usually go to like a Comfort Dental down the other way. But that is pretty much it. Let's see, they got some stuff back there. A business center, fireplace, chimneys. Yeah, this bike is so incredibly loud. It's like, I can hear, you know, when I come around the corner, everybody that's outside just turns and looks. They're like, what is that rumble? It's actually pretty cool. That was weird though, when we first started it up, and it kind of popped and backfired. I don't know what that's about. I was wondering maybe if I should change my spark plugs again. I changed them once when I first got the bike, and I've ridden this thing every single day since, I guess it's been like 2 months since I really started riding this thing. You know, and some of my trips are really long. So I don't know what else, you know. This is fuel injected, and I recently just cleaned the air cleaner on it. Of course, another thing, this actually has a stage 1, so it has the shortstop pipes on it, and it has a Screaming Eagle air intake for the air cleaner. So that could be a problem. It could need like a dyno tune or something like that. So see, now that we're going up the hill, there's almost no wind. It's like only wind one way, which is kind of crazy. Of course, with my loud pipes, I might cause a rock slide. You gotta be careful where you're actually doing, going by some of these falling rock places, like right there. That kind of freaks me out with the falling rock. Right clean, closed ahead. Is it really closed? I think they're done. Speed limit 40, but I think they're done. Alright, so there's one more place I want to show you during this Motovlog, my very first Motovlog. It's so beautiful. Look at how beautiful it is here, coming through this canyon. So you can actually go that way, up that way, and get to my house too, kind of go through the back streets. But I want to take you down by Loafajug. I want to show you the Catholic church where I first started going. When I first started on this motorcycle, let me tell you, I was pretty scared to drive it. Yeah, when I first started riding, I couldn't wave at anybody, but now I feel confident to let go of one hand, and I'm not confident enough to let go of both hands though. Yeah, definitely not that skilled. It takes a while. I don't know if it's a good idea to let go of both hands anyways. Alright, so what I want to show you is the other place here where I kind of practiced. And this is another dirt road. This is kind of the worst, actually the worst way to go to it, because it is really dirt and ridiculous right here. Actually, this dirt and gravel it's good practice. You just don't want to drop your bike. I think dropping a bike like this would be pretty expensive to try to fix everything that broke. Although you could do some upgrades if you dropped it. I always like turning a wrench and doing upgrades on my bike, but I don't know if I want to spend that much and be forced into upgrades. So look at this. This is like really bad road damage right here. But this is where I would practice, right here. This is like the beginning of my riding, right here in this old familiar parking lot. And I would practice turns and the friction zone and kind of going around these light poles, going in and out of parking spots, kind of coming up here, doing some turnarounds. And essentially what I do is I just kind of go through the parking lot here and just do some turnarounds. And I practice, you know, turning left and turning right and working in the friction zone. Looks like I need to practice some more. I'm not as good as I used to be. I used to practice this like every single day, and I think I was a lot better back then. Kind of working in the friction zone, where you have your clutch out just a little bit, working your brakes. Yeah, maybe I should practice that a little bit more now and then, just kind of come back and practice it. But let me tell you, I was there every single day until I felt comfortable enough to get out and be with other traffic. I didn't even feel safe enough to go to Loaf and Jug to be around other cars when I first started out. But I'm definitely more comfortable now, especially driving every day. And boy, it's a hot one today. I can definitely feel that heat coming down. So this is Idra Haji. It's a Christian camp for kids here in Bailey, Colorado. Look at that big old pothole. That thing is huge. There goes a crotch rocket. And I am waking the dead with my pipes. So one of the things I really want to do, hopefully this vlog will actually come out in the audio on my helmet, and if it does, one of the things I really want to do is take new motorcycles for test drives. I've been watching a lot of other people's channels and kind of sorting by the most popular, and it seems like a lot of people's most popular videos are like, you know, the new 2021 Harley Davidson Road King or something like that. A lot of people are really interested in the new stuff coming out, and it would also give me kind of more of an opportunity to try to ride more bikes instead of, you know, just being kind of biased towards my Dyna. I mean, this is a great bike, but, you know, I was thinking if I was, you know, gonna road test some like some sport bikes or something like that, what I might have to do is I might have to buy my own sport bike and get some practice, go back to the parking lot and just kind of practice on that before I jump in and, you know, jump on a dealer's, you know, $10,000 sport bike and take it for a ride. And in the case of Harley Davidsons, you know, some of those high-end ones are like $40,000, $45,000, which you definitely don't want to lay that one over doing a test drive. It'd probably be your last test drive from that dealer, which would be kind of crazy. But kind of the funny thing is, ever since I've been on this one, it's, you know, this bike is about 700 pounds. So actually, I've been driving this every single day. So I actually went over to Harley Davidson and I sat on one of their top of the line, big, huge, you know, the ones with the fairing and all the bags on the back and everything. And I got on top of it, and it didn't even, as a matter of fact, it almost seemed like it was a little lighter than this one. It didn't really seem as heavy. And I think on this bike, I have a whole bunch of stuff on the sissy bar. That's probably like 30 pounds of stuff right behind me. It's mostly like rain gear and cold weather gear and stuff like that. But that 30 pounds, you know, being up on the seat feels like, you know, probably like 100 pounds down low in the engine if you're comparing just the bikes by themselves, which is, it's an interesting difference between the two. So I feel like after driving this, that, you know, I could probably drive a big bike and it wouldn't really be, I always want to switch gears and go faster and faster. I was like, all right, the speed limit is 35. I don't want to go too fast through here. But yeah, it'll be kind of interesting to do all the different drives on the, you know, the big bikes and the little bikes. And another bike I really want to test drive is the Honda Groms, the really small, kind of like an island bike that, you know, has a top speed of like 50 miles an hour. I think it's like 54, 55 is the fastest that bike can go. I would love to drive one of those. I think you can buy a brand new one for like $3,000. I was thinking that'd be kind of a neat bike just to, you know, do some vlogs on and go back and forth to Loaf and Jug between, you know, different bikes. I could have like a Grom and a street bike and a couple Harleys or something like that, and just do vlogs on various bikes going back and forth, which would be pretty interesting. Of course, my seasons are so short, you know, most of those would be sitting in the garage for probably probably 6 or 7 months out of the year. I wouldn't be able to do the vlogs or something like that. I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna, you know, keep the channel going in the winter time. But yeah, this is really beautiful. Usually it's a lot clearer and you have a better scenic view of the mountains right from here. This is probably one of the most scenic spots, although now for some reason it seems really hazy and kind of just faded out. And you can definitely see right in the middle of the road here, it's like, oh, it's just terrible in the middle. You have to like be over in one of the lanes, either the left or the right, to kind of get out of that really rough middle part. And probably on these mountain roads, the best place to drive is on the left lane, because you go more in the right lane, and it seems like you have more potholes. Some of these potholes can be really big over here on the right side of the road. And let me tell you, when I first started driving, you know, just this drive right here would be pretty scary, you know, with the wind and everything. But let me tell you, I'm used to kind of being bounced around and the wind kind of throw me around. I think it just takes, you know, time to get used to being in the saddle and being kind of bounced around on the road, bounced around from the wind and everything. So this is where I live, the Deer Creek Valley Ranchos. As a matter of fact, we used to have a really beautiful sign right there that was awesome, and someone stole it. And then they replaced it with that one. It's a pretty good sign, but let me tell you, it's not like the other sign. The other sign was like a museum piece. It was so beautiful, which I couldn't believe someone actually stole it, which is kind of crazy. It's like the deer have certain spots you have to really watch for. You get used to, you know, where all the potholes are, where all the deer are, you know, where the wind is. After driving it, you know, every day, eventually you get used to where everything is. And then right here, this can be a little bit scary too, because you're coming around this corner, and a lot of times you have a lot of gravel right on the road, so you have to almost be upright coming around into some of these. Of course, the closer you get to my house, the kind of the rougher the road gets worse and worse, until you're like driving down ruts and stuff, which is kind of crazy. So this corner is kind of funny too, because this is where everyone slides off the road and they slide into that tree. You can see there's a little spot off the tree right there. That's from everybody hitting that tree with their car in the winter. They all slide off the road, which is pretty funny. And this guy over on the right, he cuts all his firewood to within like a millimeter or something. He's got like, so some of these guys are kind of crazy. There's one guy over here actually has some grass. Has a little lawn. He's probably the only person in the mountains. Nobody has lawns or grass. Nobody wants to water their grass or mow or anything. That's why everyone kind of gets away from the city to come up here. So here, you really have to be careful and make sure your bike is upright. You definitely don't want to take a corner on this sand. It's kind of like a sandy gravel. And you don't want to take off too fast. You don't want to downshift too fast. You don't want to brake too fast. Yeah, it's really kind of tricky on this. This is really slippery stuff. You have to really be careful. And then kind of the weird thing is we almost live like what I like to call like a snow belt, because everywhere there'll be like maybe just a little bit of flurries and nothing sticking on the ground. And then when you get to like, oh, I'd say maybe a little bit further down the road, you get to the point where there's just so much snow. Usually from like maybe right here all the way to my house, it's like really super snowy. I don't know if it's just like some kind of a weather funnel or something that just dumps all the snow right here, or what it is exactly. But we get a lot of snow. We're like the, you know, everyone will be like riding their motorcycles and out and about, and I'll still be snowed in. Like, you know, it'll be spring and I'll be like the only person in the whole place still snowed in, waiting to get my motorcycle out, which is kind of crazy. And that's pretty funny. The neighbor puts up a gate like there's really anybody ever up here. I think I've had like one trick-or-treater in 20 years up here in the mountains. There's no people. If you look at the map, this is like the end of civilization right here. There's nothing behind us. It's except like deer and bear and mountain lions and elk. Just all the wildlife. So this is my driveway right here. Look at this crazy driveway. This is just not a place you want to learn how to ride a motorcycle. That is for sure. It's kind of crazy. Really beautiful though, through all the trees and everything. And then I have my garage door opener in my pocket, so I can just ride right into the garage. I'll see if I can do it without touching the ground. Usually I can. Yeah, oh yeah, easy. All right, so there you have it, my very first Motovlog. So, hope you guys like it. Please subscribe. I don't have very many subscribers. I'm trying to continually increase and build this channel, which has kind of been a challenge. You know, starting a brand new channel. I think I have like 62 subscribers now. So thanks for coming along for the ride. It was pretty awesome. It was kind of weird that the engine died right at the beginning. I'll have to look into that, maybe change my plugs out, and hopefully that fixes the problem. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.